14th Nagaland Legislative Assembly laga 8th session aji second part shuru kurise yade MLA Achumbemo Kikon pra environment bia hoi thakya aru climate change opor chinta uthaise. Think globally, act locally laga theme de khota kore homoy Achumbemo pra kushi ki phek twensang aru kohima nishina khan de extreme weather hua chinta dikhaise. Wokhade it's chuka Borewell khan nimide sukha hoija khan example digina. Kikon pra natural resources bia hoi thagya khan kushi Chate aro Dansiri Nodi khan bia hua khan bi Kikon pra jonaise. Itu khan sewage discharge construction laga moila aro waste phila nimile ase. Tai kushi ke Kohima aro Dimapur khan dumping site nishina hua pra Doyang reservoir de bi effect kriya kushi.
Thank you, Speaker Sir, for the time given. I can understand the impassionedness of our honourable members today. It's a very important day because our Leader of the House, the Honourable Chief Minister, who also holds the finance portfolio, will present the budget 26-27, and therefore we are eagerly awaiting. But in the meantime, I also felt it necessary to raise some concern which should prick our conscience. As you are fully aware, Speaker Sir, it is under your initiative, under your stewardship, let us say, after 60 years, Nagaland Legislative Committee on Environment and Climate Change have been constituted, comprising 7 of us. I have another 6 members with me, senior members of this House, Honourable Member Zalirio, Honourable Member Mahatang Yantan, Mrs. Sikani Chakalo, Jingan Gunyak, Newsreto Newte, Dr. Chiletu. So 7 of us have been entrusted to look after this committee for the past 1 year. And we have been also engaged with the public as well as time to time spot verification, inspecting some of the stinking dustbins and also the rivers here and there across Nagaland. Of course, we are yet to cover all the districts, but all the honourable members are very busy people. Despite of that, they all have given time, and we have tried our best. Now, this issue is a pressing issue for all of us. It is a global issue, not only in the Nagaland context. Speaker Sir, I have 6 pages draft, which I have already drafted, presented to you. I don't need to go through in detail. But some of the concern that I felt should be raised to this House so that we incorporate in our developmental planning and process. Speaker Sir, you are aware that the World Global Happiness Index, if you see the record, Finland records for the past 9 consecutive years as in the Gross National Happiness Index. And if you see the Asian countries, it is Bhutan. Of course, it's a small Himalayan mountainous country. But they are also one of the leading environmental conservation, and therefore they always come in the Gross National Happiness Index. And what is the purpose of our life on this earth? Because it's if we don't live happily, where is the meaning? This has to prick our conscience. There are so many criteria being placed to reach that stage, that status of Gross National Happiness Index, but one fundamental and primary aspect of assessing that report is actually on the environmental concern, the environmental conservations. And Finland is one where they focus more on ecological balance, environmental related, and for which they keep ranking as the world #1 in the happiness index. So also in Asian countries, Bhutan is one which is actually zero carbon negative, and the research is that they are planning their developmental process are all environmental friendly. They are more focused. Their children, women, men, folk, everyone are a part of that planning process, engaging more in the environmental aspect, and for which they are the one who live very, very happily on this earth. Now, according to the World Health Organization report 2017, Inheriting a Sustainable World, 26% of under 5 deaths would be avoided by addressing environmental health risks. This is climate change, global warming was a part of those days at top of the Western countries, speaker said, but it is now here in our doorstep, and therefore it is concern for all of us. In the national context, I'll be very brief. In the national context, as far as India is concerned, climate change have led to 17 out of 20 people in India being vulnerable to extreme hydrological and meteorological disasters like drought, food shortage, and cyclone. That is happening every day in India. Then there is a report by the UNICEF, United Nations International Children Emergency Fund Report 2021, titled "The Climate Crisis is a Child's Rights Crisis," indicates that children in India are among the most at risk to the impact of climate change, threatening their health, education and protection. It is not only the past, not only the present, speaker said. What I would like to emphasize here is, the report is about the children, which means the future. Children are the future. And therefore, they are at the vulnerable, the most people at risk because of this global warming and climate change if we don't arrest on time. With 21 of the world's 30 most polluted cities being in India. You are aware? That is India Air Report 2020. Millions are at risk to respiratory and other related illness. We have also experienced COVID-19. All of us have gone through that very trying moment, and India was one which has faced the most impact on it, negative impact. In 2017 alone, air pollution killed 1.24 million people in India. Now, because of these given factors and reasons, India has also geared up to address climate change by adopting a policy such as National Solar Mission, Enhanced Energy Efficiency, Sustainable Habitat, Water Mission, Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem, a Green India, Sustainable Agriculture, and Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change. Let me come back to the Nagaland, our regional, local context. I started with the global, came back to the national. Now let's come back to the our regional, in the Nagaland context, speaker said. Now, in our context, our state faced escalating threats. Temperatures projected to rise and more precipitation, fueling extreme rains over 100 millimeter day in Phak, Gyeongsang, and Kohima. Now, what are the reasons? There are so many reasons. One amongst them is, of course, uncontrolled jhum cultivation, but that is a part of our culture, our tradition. We cannot totally do away with, because our forefathers practiced jhum cultivation as a part of our life. Not only survival, but there is a lot of stories attached to our jhum cultivation. And therefore, we also cannot totally do away with jhum cultivation, but we should also find a policy, find a mechanism, how to give an alternative, a better way, a modern way of doing jhum cultivation, not totally doing away with, but encompassing the modern ideas and technologies and mechanism to keep on with that jhum cultivation tradition, but in the meantime, also address the environmental hazards, the environmental concern. Now, last year alone, Nagaland endured 48 days of extreme weather, with rising urban heat, stressing Dimapur and beyond. If you recall, Speaker Sir, we have experienced even flood in Dimapur. These are a part of the environment climate change, which of course we have to incorporate in our planning process, in our developmental aspect. Now, Speaker Sir, in the hill areas, the drying up of rivers, streams and natural springs. This is area of concern, especially for our people. The next, I have been saying this, that the next world war, if we are to wage, now people are engaged in oil war, as we have seen in Iraq, case and oil war. But the next world war, Speaker Sir, is more to do with the water crisis. Not only in next world war, if you see South India, Kaveri river water, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, they used to have a lot of clashes between the two states because of river, sharing of river. Now, unless we attend to it, and at the moment, a lot of rivers in Nagaland have been dried up, Speaker Sir. Unless we take full attention, the honorable members here, as well as the officers present in the hall as well as outside the hall, we all must act very responsibly in our process of developmental aspect. I was informed by some people that there is a proposal to have ring well boring in some of the villages, which is being taken up by, I think, the Geology and Mining Department, Water Resource Department. I don't know all this, but such information I have gathered. That is worrying me a lot, Speaker Sir, because our people, mostly in the villages, of course, because of our way of head hunting those days, most of us settled at the top hill, as far as our villages are concerned. We settled at the top hill. But still then, they were available. Water source were available for the entire villages, sufficient water, drinkable waters. Now, how these are drying up because of our man-made, because of our irresponsible way of acting. Now, if such proposals are there, the water spring board will go down. And therefore, unless there is a proper consultation with the villagers, with the stakeholders, proper coordination amongst the department, it is going to bring more of a hazard, more of a threat for the future, rather than giving us facility now and even in future. Now, one classic example I will tell you, the environmental committee we have inspected at Satraka at Boka. It has been feeding the Boka citizens for the past 100+ years. It is called elite well. Etzel means the elite well in Botha language. It is totally dried up, unimaginable. Of course, one contributory factor is the raising down of trees, forests of the Mount D. That is also one of the contributory factor. But another primary factor which we could find out is a random drilling of borewell that has drained out the source. And if the departments are still encouraging this, I don't know. How do we plan our policies and programs when, because of our developmental projects, if we allow our natural wells to dry up, I think that is not in tune with what we are ought to do as policymakers, as elected members, as responsible people running the government. So that is one area of concern which I have, the committee has observed that. Now there are some measures to be adopted which I would like to reflect only in the proceedings once you publish, but I don't want to read out all this to save time. Now if you see the streams and urban areas, the adverse impact can be visibly seen where huge plastic waste are dumped in the tributaries from Kohima, Zenyapoto and Woka were being carried down and accumulated at Doyang Reservoir. And every time the government agencies, local population, civil societies, organizations are tasked to clean up involving large resources. We have inspected some of the rivers here in Kohima, Sunur River, then the Mohon Kola River, all this with the committee members. It is very, very pathetic and discouraging, Speaker, sir. Our people are so irresponsible. If you go and inspect the rivers, they will dump all their waste in the river. In the Mohankoda River, I have seen a huge blanket and mattress being, piled up in the, and some old TVs, refrigerators being dumped in the riverside, on the bank of the river itself. That is the responsible behavior. That is the responsible behavior of our people. How do we do this? Our people also should act responsibly. Then there are also the road construction companies and the contractors dumping the earth, the mud in the riverbank, in the riverside, blocking the ways of the river, as well as some with an intention to encroach in the river, to increase their holding of lands. These are the attitude of our people. So, and another aspect is we send all our waste to the river. So instead of keeping the river clean, we are the one contributing more to the pollution of the river. And the plastic waste, all this waste from Kohima, Jemenyu, some part of Sanjapoto district and Woka are being carried down to the Doyang Reservoir. If you go and see the peak time when the river flows, it is very sad. And instead of keeping the reservoir clean, all those are being dumped in the Doyang Reservoir. So these are some of the aspects which our people have to be responsible and we must act upon. Rivers in Dimapur, if you see, we went to inspect Thansari and Chate River. Our people, the way we act, we behave, it is unthinkable and it is very sad. And therefore, we must educate all of us, not only the committee members, but as responsible elected members and officers, all of us have to engage ourselves in educating our people. If you see I will give you one example, the washing away of the Chade River Bridge. Government, the Road and Bridges Department has invested a lot of money building the bridge. Now, there was also one development, this irrigation embankment done by the Irrigation Department. Now it is called Water Resource Department. The flow of the river was tanking the embankment built by the Irrigation, the Water Resource Department, and it was a tangent. It was hitting that, and on the other hand, going back and hitting the pillar of the bridge. That was one of the main contributory factor in washing away the Chati Bridge, and government has to again re-sanction a lot of money to rebuild the bridge. So while doing another developmental work, we are also unconsciously, or maybe because of our poor planning, hitting the other developmental work which we have already invested. That was one of the contributory factor of washing away the bridge. There could be some other factor also. And therefore, while planning developmental aspect, all these line departments, Speaker sir, have to coordinate together that save the environment also, and also see that development which we have taken up are not being damaged because of another development by another department taking up on such aspect. Air pollution is one aspect which Nagaland today, in Nagaland, Kohima and Dimapur are listed non-attainment cities due to particulate matter, PM10 levels, exceeding national standards, Speaker sir. As per current forecast, the air quality in both the cities is reported to be good to moderate. It should be excellent. Now, one aspect the committee found out was the random installation of stone crushers as well as sawmill in the heart of the city. Especially Dimapur, you will find such installation. I think there has to be a proper regulation on all this aspect, and I would strongly suggest, Speaker sir, that As far as the committee which you have given us, which you have empowered us through the Nagaland Legislative Secretary, internal working rules, this is more of only a recommendatory in nature. And therefore, we can at the most go and give a recommendation, but there is less effective action on the ground. And I wish to suggest that if in the near future, the committee working guidelines may be also improvised a little bit by strengthening the hands of whoever handles the committee, and see that like the National Green Tribunal Council, we may not get that much authority, but unless vetting is properly done by the Assembly Committee on all these developmental aspects. Now, environmental hazards, climate change is the most pressing need for all of us. And therefore, while doing developmental works, vetting from the committee or a competing authority is required, although a little bit of such things are mentioned in our findings. So that is also one aspect I would like to point out. Speaker, sir, one last aspect is the coal mining. Yes, it is our desire that we extract, exploit, and maneuver effectively the usage of our huge mineral deposits. I have no objection to that, but unless there is a proper scientific way of mining, this is going to be a huge hazard for us. And the gas that is emitted from the coal mining, it affects our health. Most of these cancer patients, I'm told, are from this, inhaling such gas emitted from the coal mining. And Mogokchung and Mokha is one of the most affected area because of the coal mining. And therefore, proper regulation, licenses are being randomly issued, and there is no proper regulation. It's only red coal mining. There are lots of mining places where there is no backfilling, Speaker said. Forget about revegetation. They should actually, all this should be a part of the license guarantee. But instead of doing revegetation, there is not even a backfilling of what they have tapped out from the natural earth. So this is also one major concern which I wish to raise to you, Speaker, sir. There are lots of points to be discussed, but since the time is running out, I would only like to say that this climate change, global warming, is no more a talk of the West. It is here in our kitchen, in our room, in our hall already. If you see the rain coming down, the erratic rain, as if it is going to fall inside the room, that is what happened. And the usage of the power supply, I think I would like to end that we must think globally and act locally. How do we do it? Global warming, we must see the threat, but switch off the bulb which you don't require to use during daytime. That is one simple way of acting locally. Let me end by quoting few important personalities, what they have to say on this climate change. One of the most prominent climate change activists at the moment is the former Vice President of USA, Albert Gore. What he said, the truth is that climate change is presenting the greatest challenge humanity has ever faced. So what he's saying is the greatest challenge humanity has ever faced. I think that is one which we have to think very seriously. And what Barack Obama also said about climate change, we are the first generation to feel the impact of climate change and the last generation that can do something about it. Let me conclude by what the father of the Indian nation said about which during the last plenary session of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, where you are the chairperson, we had our conference here in November. Both the Honorable Speaker of Lok Sabha and Deputy Chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, they were addressing more on the climate change. They were also quoting this, what Mahatma Gandhi has said, that Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. Thank you, Speaker, sir, for the time.